So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. We're going to start this one. I hope Aston Villa are more professional than I am doing podcasts, because one thing you don't do before, just as you hit go live, is shove a bar of chocolate into your mouth, and then, especially one that's full of caramel, I get stuck to your teeth, and then when the entrance music stops, then you find yourself just going trying to get it off your teeth. Anyway,
you go and take a drink for yourself there, because I have an announcement to make. Aston Villa can confirm that Aaron Ramsey has completed a permanent move to Burnley. So best of luck to Aaron Ramsey. Undisclosed fee, obviously with that buyback clause, I would imagine. Nothing like that confirmed, but we will find out in due course, I'd imagine. But done and dusted, club have confirmed it.
Best of luck to Mr. Ramsey at Burnley. Hopefully he won't. Hopefully he will tear it up there, and Aston Villa will bring him back. But what I was going to say there was, hopefully he won't be there for long, and we will bring him home. Once again, we've spoken about this, Paddy. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a move that the club needs to start. Club needs to start to become savvy. Like even the sales, the rumored or the mooted sales of Keenan Davis and Jaden Philogene-Bedes, over the course of the next 2 days, we could bring 20 million in profit in for three youth players, 2 with buyback clauses, and one. To be honest with you, it's a bit of a stretch calling Keenan Davis a youth player when he's 25. He'll be 26 in February. I think it is. So that's it's a bit of a stretch, but he's in his last year of his contract, and I wish all three of them end up going the best of luck, and I hope to see the 2 guys with buyback clauses back at the club very, very soon. It's an interesting one, because it feels, Paddy, that we've thinned out the end of our roster, or potentially the middle. I suppose the rotational end of our roster.
Before you move on, I'll just read out what Aaron Ramsey had to say, because it's nice, and it'd be unfair of us to gloss over it. It said, "Thank you, Villa, my boyhood club and the place I've called home since I was 7. I wanted to come on here and say a massive thank you to everyone at the club, from the staff to the players that I've played with in my career. From the day I stepped foot inside Bodymore Heath, you have helped me become the man and player I am today. I will be forever grateful and thankful for the path you've put me on in football, the opportunities I've been given. I've had some unforgettable memories that it'll forever cherish, and have made friendships for life. Wishing you all the best for the future, but for now, it's on to a new adventure." Aaron Ramsey. Fair play to him.
But for now, Aaron.
But for now.
Exactly. We will see you. Don't get comfy. There's a reason we sold you to a club that wear claret and blue, so that when you come back, it'll be easy to know who to pass the ball to when we bring you back. But no, fair play for such a young man. Seems like he's very grounded. A nice, classy little message to the club there. And for somebody who hasn't even made a senior professional appearance, he understands the club. He understands that we know the club. Obviously, his brother's an important part of the first team, and that they're the words of a man that is keeping his bridges very much built. Is what I would say, and fair play to him. Very, very mature statement. Very, very mature statement.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit surprised at the timing, given that he can play against us now on Sunday. I honestly thought that's what we were holding on for, to get that fixture out of the way and then let him go. But look, if he's ready to go, we may as well see how good he is up against us on Sunday, if that's the case. But you're right, it is starting to thin out a little bit. We will see a couple of others leave in the coming days, which will free up some space. You've mentioned Philogene-Bedes, you've mentioned Keenan Davis, so yeah, it's all moving along, and hopefully that's a sign of what's going to happen with people coming in. It is sad to see him go, because I did obviously hope. And you know what? It's not still dead in the fact that they've spoken about that buyback clause. He could eventually play with his two brothers at Aston Villa, and I think that would be incredible. But for now, we'd have to assume that won't be the case, and good luck to him.
I'd have to say, and this is probably one for Stato, paging Stato to the stream, please. Has there ever been three brothers to play for Aston Villa at the same time? Wait, actually, has there ever been three brothers to play for any Premier League team at this? I even go one further. Has there ever been three brothers to play for any English league team?
Rod, Ray, and Danny Wallace. Didn't they play for the same Leeds team, I think?
Did they all play for the one Leeds team? It's the one that it's the one that came to my mind. Yeah. But anyway, again, we've done it again, Paddy. We're 6 minutes into the podcast and we haven't spoken about Aston Villa and Hibs, and that's what people came to.
This is the way the podcast goes, Neil. If they don't like it, they know they can go somewhere else. We're all right. We're all good with that.
It's the thing. Watching the playback.
We had breaking news. We had breaking news to break just as we came on. So there it is. Jacob Ramsey or Aaron Ramsey has left the building.
Usually we start the podcast with breaking wind. Some of the times what we speak about is that's what it sounds like. But at least we're breaking news this time. But
well, the news was a bit better than talking about toffee being stuck in your teeth, so it's all right.
Well, it was caramel, Paddy. It was caramel.
Sorry, I was more concerned with what was going on my phone at the time. So there you go.
Yeah, So Villa are up to Edinburgh to play Hibs. As we get flung to the upper echelons of Europe to play in our first European game for donkeys years, for 13 years and 4 days. I think I saw someone put up on the internet today. And Paddy, we called this when we were hoping for it from a good bit out, and we got our wish, and neither of the two of us can bloody go to Edinburgh as things transpired. I would have had and you know what? I would have had a better chance of going if it was always on the Wednesday. It was the late change to the Wednesday completely and utterly hamstrung me. Not that I would have got a ticket, but I would have gone and tried to blag a ticket on the street in Edinburgh. But it's going to be a great occasion for everybody there that goes up there. I think the Villa fans are going to be absolutely top notch tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to, or tomorrow afternoon even, 5:30 kickoff. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on TV, and I'm looking forward to hearing the atmosphere.
5:45, just in case we confuse anybody.
Yeah.
5:45. Look, it's going to be strange to watch a match at that time. I always found it really strange coming home from work and Europa League and Conference League games starting at that hour. I suppose Champions League games start at that hour now in the league, in the league stages as well. So look, it's
usually it's reserved for X team is playing another team that's maybe on the western side of Russia. That's usually when you get these games, 5:45 kickoffs in the Europa League. And I remember, what was it? Anzi Machalaka or whatever they were called. Yeah. Where everybody had to have an armed guard with them at any given time. It was supposed to be an awful lawless spot down by the steps or whatever. I don't know what it was.
And they no longer exist. They went out of business a couple of years ago. Mad stuff.
What do you mean? You mean to say that there's things over there that are overly inflated with money that nobody knows where it comes from in Russia? What? That's news to me, Paddy.
That's news to everybody.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and look, we come up against an old adversary in Lee Johnson, but we'll get onto that in a moment. But Hibs is a club, always fond of Hibs, a proper Scottish club, obviously when you think of the Scottish Premier League, you think of Celtic, Rangers, and then the next two that come into my mind always are Hibs and Aberdeen. I don't know why it is. You'll have the odd Inverness Caledonian Thistle or whatever that will spring to mind, and there's obviously a lot of brilliantly named clubs in Scotland. I think of all the leagues, Scotland have some brilliantly named clubs. But Hibs are proper clubs. Some of you guys will have heard in previous podcasts we've done that the little town in Limerick that I come from called Ballingarry, in the foothills, just in the shadow of a lovely hill called Knockfearna. The man that set up Hibs came from there, Canon Edward Hannon, and he came from Ballingarry, and my local football club at home, Ballingarry AFC, of who some of you may remember Anthony Ford. He plays with Wrexham at the moment, played with Wolves when he was 17 in the Premier League under Mick McCarthy. He came from that little football club, Ballingarry AFC, and yeah, so the connection between Hibs and my hometown is quite large. It's quite big, and every year, as I say, there's delegations come over, and we've had kids, we've had young players go over and train with Hibs and stuff like that. So for me, this is it's. I would have loved to been over there, but it's always special. I think, you know, when you get to, I've seen a couple of Hibs games in Easter Road, and I do have a connection with them from that point of view as well. So looking forward to tomorrow's occasion for that reason as well. But they're a team that's really growing, I think, in the back room as well, because they know that they're not going to have the financial might to take on a Celtic or a Rangers. They know they're not going to have that financial might. So they've gotten a decent backroom team in there, Paddy. I've seen it. Like Brian McDermott, former Reading manager, he's in there as director of football. Remember him, the baldy guy? He's in there as director of football, and they seem to have a bit of a structure built up there now at Hibs to try and maybe, I don't know, bring through players or whatever the case may be. So it's nice to see that, I suppose, going on within the Scottish game, because look, no matter what way you butter it up, there needs to be teams to challenge Celtic or Rangers, you know, over the coming needs to be teams to challenge Celtic, really, I suppose, at the moment, you know, over the coming years. And it's nice to see a club that's kind of building in that way, bringing proper football people in.
It's a hard sell. You're playing in basically what's a 2-horse race to try and catch up with the other two. You saw even when Rangers went belly up in 2012, before the new club got back into the Premier League, nobody was able to compete with Celtic, and they won every league in that time. So it is a difficult one to break, and you're almost playing second fiddle. So this game for them is huge tomorrow. Albeit I don't believe they will have anywhere near enough to cope with us, but this to them is like a cup final. It's a great occasion for the club. It should nearly, if it's not, be a sellout. It should be nearly there. So it's a great place. If anyone has ever got an opportunity to go there, it's a lovely place to watch football. It's a real old style 4-stand grounds, despite the fact that a lot of the stands are new. The four very steep stands, let's call them, around the stadium. It's not a huge stadium. I think about 21,000 is the capacity. But a great place to watch football, really friendly people. It was the second last game I went to before COVID was a football trip. I went with my son, and we went to Easter Road, and then our last trip was the trip to Wembley before lockdown. But I would have, despite the fact I make no apology for being a Celtic fan, Hibs would have a huge soft spot in my heart, and they would always be my second team in Scotland if there is such a thing. But I'm raging. I'm not going tomorrow because I think it's a huge occasion for Hibs, and it would have been nice to be there. It's also, let's not forget, a huge occasion for us. For the first time in 13 years, we're back on the European stage, and it's an important game. And the reason it's an important game is I'd love to go and do a number on them tomorrow so that we can relax and watch a few of the fringe players play the following Thursday, which is just a couple of days before we play Liverpool. So we can rest a few players. So that's where I'm at with this one tomorrow. I want to see us go and win well, and then have a nice festive occasion when we get back next Thursday to Villa Park.
Did anyone get the little pun that Paddy put in there? The fringe players? Fringe festival going on in Edinburgh. Unintentional pun. Yeah, I was thinking it was unintentional. But yeah, I think, look, a team that we can't take lightly, you know, a team that I think you meet the most ardent Hibs fan in the side of the road, and you ask them, they're going, let's go out there and let's try and keep it tight in now, in fairness, they're going to be through the roof with confidence in a way because of what they did to Luzerne. But their league form hasn't exactly been great. Like the last 2-1 to Motherwell at the weekend, away at Motherwell, and they didn't play great. Their midfield was completely and utterly steamrolled. I saw highlights of it. I watched highlights of it, and their midfield was completely and utterly steamrolled. That guy that they signed on loan from United, Will Fish, is it, the defender? He was. Oof, he made a bad error in that game as well at the weekend, and in goal. In goal. David Marshall in goal as well. Didn't exactly cover himself in glory either throughout the course of the game. So they're big players. Some of the big players the David Marshalls, the Lewis Stevenson, who was like 450 odd caps for Hibs, one team man. They didn't really light up at the weekend away to Motherwell. Now, maybe they could have been looking towards this game as well here. They've been a lot better in Europe than they have been even in their off-season, pre-season form. It's been a lot better in Europe than it has been in those preseason games, and certainly has been in the start of the season so far. So maybe they're looking for the big night to try and do some to try and take this to Aston Villa. But there's some good players in the team, Paddy. There are some good players and some players that definitely deserve attention, like Vente, the striker that they have up front, the new striker that they've signed. He scored 2 goals in 3 games, or 2 goals in 4 games, should I say? But they brought him in from Roda JC. In the Eredivisie, the second division of the Dutch league, and he scored like 19 goals last season. I think he scored like 24 the year before. So he knows where the back of the net is. He's come into Hibs. I think he only signed 24 hours before they played Luzern in the first leg, maybe the second leg. Must have been the second leg, I'd say. And he banged one in. So he knows where the back of the net is. Although he wasn't particularly great at the weekend. Need to mind him. Alex Lafondra, people might remember him, Reading player back in Adam 2011, I think, or to 2014. I think it was when they were they had almost solidified themselves in the Premier League, and he played there. And he scored quite a lot of goals for them as well. So look, he's 36 or 37 years of age. So but still,
it was a good bit before that. It was 2011, yeah. But Adam Lafondra had the record for most amount of touches in the opposition's box that led to goals in Premier League history until Erling Haaland broke it last year.
There you go. there you go. Yeah, I would not.
When you say I don't do my homework,
yeah, no, that's projection on your behalf, because I don't do my homework, so I just say you don't do it to make myself feel better. But they've got Belgian under-21s, former Belgian under-21s, Rocky Bashiri, their centre half. He didn't play at the weekend, former Belgian under-21. So like there's players in the team. Jake Doyle Hayes, former Villa player, former Irish under-21, in there as well, and obviously the Blue Nose Joe Newell, who said that there's a picture of him in a Villa shirt, and who Neil Lennon might have alluded to by being a man to throw an old sly dirty tackle in on John McGinn to slow him down. And I'll tell you, if he does, I'll fly to Edinburgh myself, and as he's getting off the field, I'll be the man to meet him with a crack of a fist into the side of the head, because Neil Lennon shouldn't be telling anyone to go out and injure anybody in the field, regardless of who they are. So shut it, Lennon.
This is unfortunately what the former footballer has started to do, and you see it on Talk Sport every day. People talking absolute tripe like that is no good for anybody. But having said all that,
it was half in jest as well, I must say.
Yeah, of course it was. But like that's the old style of what you'd expect to see without it being spoken about. But this don't get me wrong in me saying that I expect us to go and win well. This won't be an easy tie to just go and steamroll Hibs, because it's a completely different outlook on football. There's a lot of kick and rush. There's a lot of physicality, albeit against a weak enough side, either way over the hill, as in a 38-year-old goalkeeper and two their back four.
Oh, 38 is not over the hill, Paddy.
He's older than you, Neil.
I think he is by days or months or whatever. But
yeah, well, Neil, I've news for you. You're over the hill as well, whether you like it or not.
Fuck it.
Yeah, look, I think our Premier League fitness will stand to us in the end, but we need to be patient. It's going to take a lot to break them down at the start. I would imagine they'll lock up very tight in that midfield, reduce us to balls out wide to try and put them into the box, where they'll probably mop up a lot early on. So hopefully we can get at them early and get that early goal and settle the nerves. And I think if we score early, we'll score very, very often tomorrow.
Yeah, they're definitely going with a 3-5-2, or realistically, I suppose, probably even a 3-6. I'd say, yeah, it's 3-6-1 even. I think they need to stifle midfield. every team Villa are going to play this season are going to have at least one spy on Boubacar Kamara and Douglas Luiz to pressure the living Jesus out of them whenever they get the ball. I shared a clip of Pau Torres being able to dictate play and slow things down. Now, obviously, the press was nowhere near existent from Everton in that clip. And I think we'll be given time on the ball with our defenders like that because I think they know they're going to be comfortable with going wide against any team. I think every single team in the league is going to be comfortable with every other team in the league taking the ball wide, especially if they're able to get back and to set their defensive formation. What they don't want in that instance is people to be able to play that ball into the intermediate, into the short level or shorter intermediate level, into the sixes, into the pivots, and let them get turned. That's just basic football 101. But I think with Villa, it's probably even more pronounced. And I think that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I think Newell, I think Levitt, I think Jago, I think those guys are going to be really pushing up. There's going to be a spy at every single opportunity to stop that straight ball, that straight 10, 15-yard ball that we like to play, whether it be from our goalkeeper or from our centre halves, because I think they will be able to take frustration, or they will be able to frustrate Villa, or they will be able to take solace. Let's just say they go in at half-time 0-0 and they stop that ball, that will be massively job done for Hibs. And for a lot of the teams we'll be expected to beat this season, that's what their main thing would be. Do not let them play that 10, 15-yard ball. Do not let Douglas Luiz get turned. Do not let John McGinn get turned, because it's not even about that ball as such, but it's about the movement that happens off that ball. I spoke to Paddy today. I was going to release another tactical piece. I enjoy doing these tactical pieces. You guys will know that I've mentioned a couple of times I want to put them on YouTube, but I can't because I'll get hit with copyright strikes and the channel will be taken down and we won't be able to have the crack like we're having now. But on Twitter, it seems to be okay. So I'm going to put it up until they start knocking on my door on Twitter anyway. And just talk about little things that I see. And I've noted a very specific attacking formation that Villa take up. They've done it all through the off season in the preseason games. They did it against Newcastle and they did it against Everton as well. It just goes to show the great coaching that Unai Emery does, because the way that the attack moves in unison is it's really cool when you look at it, when you spot it happening. So I might put something out on that tomorrow. But the reason that I think these guys are going to go with that type of midfield is because if you can stifle that straight ball into midfield, it means that we have to go wide, and then it's a lot more difficult to get our attacking formation going. And that's why when Unai Emery came in last season, the Emi Buendias of this world, well, Demi Buendia, should I say, not of this world, because he was on our team. He was able to get in and find those little spaces. And then when McGinn went up and found those little spaces in front of Watkins, they were very pivotal because they allow us to fan out and they allow us to get that formation, that attacking formation that we want set when that ball goes in there, and it allows us to create pre-prescribed moves at times. You can actually see it. It's like pre-prescribed moves in our attack, and it's actually really cool to see. So might throw something up on that if I get time to do it tomorrow. But I think that Hibs will look to get us in at halftime 0-0, and to do that, they're going to try and stifle Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara and see if they can pick up a scrap then at the back, through Vente or through Boyle or through Doig. Is that how you pronounce his name? The other striker up there. Doig, yeah. I think that's what they'll do. Paddy, talk to me about. Go on, so let's talk about Lee Johnson.
I actually, this passed me by when it happened, so I don't have a lot to say. Not that I bloody care what he's at, but I honestly can't remember what went on at the time. That's how little it cared to me. We've been waiting for that comment. We've been waiting on that comment to come for a long time, haven't we?
Terry Keane, anybody who's early 90s Irish politics will be or even showbiz will know about Terry Keane and Charlie Haughey. Yeah, I clicked on that by mistake. It was only I thought you popped it up there, Paddy, so I must have clicked it by mistake.
No. I actually, if you remember the day I sent you a picture of the two jerseys on the wall, I said to you, will anyone get the Terry Keane reference? And we said our old mate Noel Connaughton was sure to mention Charlie Haughey. So the only connection to Charlie Haughey is I went to the same school as him. That was it.
Did you go to say? Oh well, yeah. Two of you. That's where you learned your tricks. So, It's but yeah, look, the Lee Johnson thing. I'm only saying it in jest as well, because it was funny. Like, he just happened to catch us on a day where we remembered what he said as a fan base. And I think he does come across as a little arrogant. But that there's no law against that, if you know what I mean. And uh, I think a lot of football fans, not just Villa fans, but I think a lot of football fans up and down the league, they like to hate him because his father, Gary Johnson, was obviously manager. He managed him, and then it was a case of Gary Johnson left, and Lee Johnson just more or less kind of stepped into the shoes afterwards. And it was a sense of nepotism, I think, at times, between the two of them there. So yeah, I don't particularly mind him, but he just did catch it in a bad day where everybody remembered what he said, with regards to their traveling fans. And I think it's something that we've never really left behind. But I'm sure he'll be told tomorrow.
What did he say?
It was just like, apparently, that we just kind of put them up into the gods, and we didn't treat their fans right or whatever, or something silly like that. I can't even remember the exact
All right.
context of it, but yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was it's just one that Villa fans seem to remember, and I'm sure he's going to get a ribbon for it tomorrow, when he does take to the field. But yeah, look, he's doing a pretty decent job with them there, specifically, I suppose, realistically getting them into Europe last season, and the job he's done in Europe so far has been decent as well. But hopefully Villa bring that to a shuddering halt tomorrow, when we do take to the field at Easter Road. Anything else, Paddy, that we can think
No,
of?
Gin JVFC said he was also complaining about FFP and stuff when we played him.
Oh yeah,
That-
he was.
that's-
Yeah, when he was
That's
up there.
kind of what I remember.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we put them up in the gods in Villa Park because they hadn't got enough fans to fill the away end. That's all that was. But he was deflecting from that they brought feck all fans to Villa Park there.
Oh, I remember. What do you make of the Hibs fans buying up the sections beside the away section at Villa Park? Did you hear about that today? Oh,
Yeah,
I said fair play to him, but I don't. I say that in jest. But Jesus, like, it's clear as day that they targeted those areas beside the away fans, because you couldn't get a seat there for love nor money. So I'd imagine when all the fan IDs were being checked at the ticketing office, they were like, "Wait a minute, this is a first-time buyer." Oh, just brand new fan IDs. Yeah.
No, well, apparently anybody that's given a Scottish address with their fan ID is going to have their tickets refunded.
Checked.
And it'll be refunded, and they won't even there's no point in even bother to travel. Like, there's a lot of play here. The last time a Scottish team came to Villa Park, the place was absolutely wrecked and the neighbourhood was wrecked. They need to be really, really careful. They need to make sure they have adequate policing, adequate segregation. So to have a huge bulk of Hibs fans in the home end is a bad idea. Like, it only takes one Villa fan to turn, and all of a sudden everybody bails in as well. So you've got to be mindful of all these things. Look, I'd have no problem. I'd have no problem with extra fans in there if we're not selling our full allocation, and the same with a lot of people. There's a lot of Villa fans going up there with no tickets, which is worrying a little bit, because what are they going to do with their time sitting watching the match at that time of the evening when everyone's coming home from work? There's a lot of play here, but I hope everybody that goes behaves themselves and enjoys it the best way. It's a great occasion for both clubs. It's potentially it could be a fiery encounter on the pitch. Let's not have that off the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, at the end of the day, as what was it that was said, Paddy? It's the most important of the least important things. At the end of the day, and everybody deserves to go and watch a match and come home safe and healthy, and we hope that is the case. And we've no reason to believe that it won't be the case, but we still hope it is the case as well. I think that's kind of going to do it for us. I see a lot of people have been looking on social media to know where this game is going to be shown. It is on the BBC iPlayer. You will find it in BBC iPlayer. You'll also find it in BBC Scotland. If you can avail of BBC Scotland wherever you are, that's where you'll find it as well. And BBC West Midlands have audio commentary of the game on their on the radio station as well. So you won't be without an opportunity or the ability to watch the game if you go to one of those places, or at least listen to the game. If you're stuck in work or something like that and you want to listen to the audio, it will be on BBC West Midlands as well. So it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. 5:30 is fantastic. Be finished by 7:30. Still gives you a chance to get out, walk the dog afterwards. But actually, you won't, because you'll have to watch the post-match show that we're going to be doing directly at the final whistle, and the team sheet tantrum, which is going to be on at team sheet tantrum, which is going to be on at
25 to 5.
25 to 5 tomorrow,
Yeah.
team sheet tantrum. And I'm looking forward to it, because you spend all your time looking to get into Europe, and technically we're not in European competition proper yet. It's still a playoff round, but it's a fantastic occasion, and I think it's going to be made even more special by the traveling fans tomorrow. To shortish distance to up to Edinburgh, and I'd love to be over there as well. But it's going to be a great occasion, and Villa are going to win. I fully believe it, and I'm going to say Villa are going to come out of this with a 3-0 win.
I'll tell
Nicholas
you
Zaniolo to score 2 goals in his debut.
Oh, wouldn't that be magic? Wouldn't it be magic? A lot of people in the comments talking about Philippe Coutinho there for a while as well. So wish him all the best. Hopefully the injury is not too bad, and it will only be 3 to 4 weeks. Fingers crossed for him. Other than that, I don't have too much to say. The club hasn't come out and said exactly. I know it takes a few days to really settle down a hamstring injury, if that's what it is, before they can actually determine how bad the tear is. So we might hear more on that tomorrow when Unai speaks to the press.
Yeah, I think so too. Best of luck to him. He initially thought it was only going to be a 2 or 3 week thing. Unai, in the post match after the game, that came out after the post match, even, I suppose, really, because I thought at the time, going by what the commentators were saying, and I should know better. I know I should know better than to go by what commentators say. But it looked like he was in quite a degree of pain, and it looked like the training staff were reluctant to move him at times. So that's what got me thinking that it could be a rather serious injury. But we'll see what comes out. We'll see what the situation is, because and I'm going to be very, very flippant and blunt about it. Like, if we're not going to sell him, we might as well use him, and he might as well be a part of the rotation there in that number 10 role. So better to be looking at him than looking for him, I think, because if he's injured, it's the worst of both worlds for us. Best of luck to him, and hopefully his injury. Hopefully,
and I suppose our saving grace is we're not too far off having Jacob Ramsey back either. Hopefully, after the international break, I believe himself.
He's in a boot at the moment still, but
is he still?
Yeah, there was a picture of him with John Duran in the dressing room after the game, and he was still wearing a protective boot. But it looked like he didn't have any crutches. He was just walking around with a boot on.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
and we did see Alex Moreno's back training. Running in straight lines anyway. So that's always a good thing. And he's on the grass as opposed to on the treadmill. So good luck to him as well. We shouldn't be too far away from seeing him back, even on playing 5-a-side or getting involved in the everyday training. So it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will be back, as we said, 10 minutes to 4:45. And for anybody who doesn't have a convoluted brain like myself, 4:35 tomorrow, we will be here with a team sheet tantrum. And delighted to be doing it, and looking forward to seeing who Unai picks. We might even see some players like Dendoncker might see a different centre half partnership. Who knows? But it will be interesting. Yeah, and as Matt says, Paramount Plus in the US tomorrow for the game as well, for all the conference leagues, if you are abroad or if you can avail of a streaming service from the United States. That's where you're going to get your game for tomorrow. But as I say, we will be back 4:35 tomorrow with a team sheet tantrum, and we will go live directly at the final whistle for our post-match review, and we hope you will be able to join us as well. So in the meantime, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. Here's hoping for an Aston Villa win tomorrow, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.